Singing with the Hayters. This is Kay Hayter. I'm here with my husband, Mark.
Hey,
and
Sweet Pea.
We're here at Wednesdays at noon, like always.
I can't believe it, Kay. You know, I would like to thank Lisa Martin and Pat Sledge for being here last week, Kay.
We weren't here last week,
we
babe.
weren't, and during our sickness, we played the same episode over that they were here. I was just going to say that.
See, I forgot
try to make you think something different. Yeah, I used my week of sick leave on the horrible arm injury, Kay, if you'll recall, and I think you do, because you've been nursing me back to health like everything.
Well, you're doing well. He's actually able to use his arm to hold his coffee cup and drink out of it. So
I just can't
this is improvement.
You know, one good thing about this, Kay, my wrist will not allow me to accidentally pour the coffee in my lap. It won't work yet, folks. It's the tendon that's three tendons or three tears.
Well, one tendon, three tears.
It was horrible,
tendon.
folks.
Yeah.
What did the doctor say? It was the...
He said he had never seen one rupture like that before.
Leave it to me. And I just said that so you'll really feel
good,
sorry
kid.
for me. Yeah. We do have a super show for you, and I would have said that even if we didn't, of course. But what we are going to do here in the second segment is Kay and I are going to discuss something we're very familiar with, to the point where I shouldn't say anything to the point of anything, but it has to do with a diet, a particular diet, and normally I wouldn't be saying the name of it, but many of you know the Ideal Protein Diet.
Yes, it was the most popular diet, I think, of 2015. We didn't know about it till, a month ago, a little longer than a month.
And by the way, I'm not doing this to say, wow, get on the diet. I'm just giving you an experience of a diet that we are experimenting with, realizing that many of you are like me, and you don't give two hoots to hear about somebody's diet. I don't care to hear about your dreams, to be honest, but I love to tell mine. And it's the same thing with diet. I never thought I would, but this one, I think I can throw some humor in it, and that's why big reason I want to use it, and some of you may be interested in doing it. But anyway, we are going to hit that with the second segment. By the way, I mentioned that to mention this, and that is we are going to be accepting calls during the second segment. If you have any comments about the diet or any diet you're on, whatever, and you want to suggest it to our audience, or just make comments about what we're on, please holler. There is, if you're listening to this on a computer, the phone number's at the bottom. If you're not, it's 936-647-3776.
And we'll let you know when the phone lines are open.
We'll tell you that, Kay. You're dang right we are. But speaking of that, what about the week? What went on? What exciting things? Any...
Well, really, we have taken it very easy this week. As a matter of fact, you were getting a little housebound.
I was, Kay.
Yeah, he was getting a little irritable.
Yeah. You know what's mostly irritating me? Not mostly, but I haven't been to the movie in a long time.
Yeah,
It's actually been over a month. Because I can't eat the popcorn. And, Kay, that is 50% of the reason I would go to a movie.
This is true.
It's very expensive, but to me, it's money well spent. But now without it, I just don't have that extra oomph to pay that much money.
I must say, there's
buy
really nothing out there that I'm willing to spend all that money to see.
And that is the second thing. Anyway, there have been so many things we missed. Probably not newspaper, but TV shows. We found a new one called something about a home.
A place to call home, something like that.
Something like that, and it's an Australian piece, and you're going to like this. It's on Amazon Prime, but it's in Acorn Network. Isn't that fascinating? Acorn Network. There's 3 segments on there that you can see, and it's just wonderful, I think.
It's set in the 50s, after the war.
Yeah. That, and then, of course, I'm still waiting for my next episode of Beowulf. I've been following that religiously. They've got
he has.
all kinds of monsters. It's been super. Anyway, that is going on, and I've got, something I wanted to read to y'all. This is straight from the Conroe Courier. And it was Monday's letter to the editor. And every once in a while, Kay, a letter to the when I see the titles,
we read them every day mostly.
Well, if I see the title and I see who wrote it, I will say, no, that person doesn't use the facts very well that I've noticed, and I don't think I'll. But this one, I read who wrote it, and I said, that person doesn't use the facts very well, but it was so short. I said, I think I'll read it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to this. Have y'all ever heard, this isn't the letter, but you've heard of the thing, it's too good to be true? You know, oh, you're going to give me this money for nothing? That's too good to be true. This is one of those incidents that is too bad to be true. I mean, you hear this, and if you believe this is the case, hoochie mama. But here's what this gentleman writes. We are, to the editor, letter to the editor, save schools from Islam. We are outnumbered 2-1 in the battle to ban Muslim law in America, and we need your help. Islam is now replacing Christianity in U.S. public schools. American children are forced to declare that there is one God, Allah. American schoolgirls are being dressed in burqas. Girls in Texas public schools dressed in burqa. Faces blurred because girls are minors, and Christians still can't pray in schools. That's Don Granger. I mean, he's got his name right there in the paper. And I really don't have many comments about that, but I am, during our third segment, going to talk about the First Amendment right as it relates to religion and explain, what I don't know about the Founding Fathers, but what the interpretation of the Constitution is regarding that. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you believe that there is a public school anywhere around here where the...
I don't think in Texas
I don't
would
think
be put
it
up
would
with.
be in Texas where,
No,
you're making them say there's only one God and it's Allah, and you're making the girls wear burqas. Wow. Let me tell you this. I taught world history in school for a while, and I had one of the units was religion, the religions of the world, and I taught about where Islam came from and the Judaism and Christianity and all, and it was the history of it. And I'll tell you this, if I had had a burqa in class, I would have said, would anyone like to put that? I'm going to put it on just to see what it's like, what these people can see, the women can see in this, and I would have done that. Perhaps that was done in some school, I don't know, and somebody said, oh my gosh, you're making them, my word, no way are they making people to do that.
I would like to know what that's based on.
I would too.
Where this information came from.
And this has gotten too far into politics, but it's really a part of the comment made that I made that it's too bad to be true. Do you remember a while back when the United States was special ops forces, Navy SEALs and all? They were coming to do training in about 11 states, but it was just mentioned that, it's Texas. And the word got out that they were coming here, and they were it was a plan to train to eventually be able to disarm Texans, get their guns, and they were in cahoots with Walmart, and they were going to capture people and put them in the basements of Walmart. They even had a picture.
Walmart has a basement?
Well, that's what I didn't know, but word got around that they did.
May.
And Kay, there was a picture of this guy standing outside this railroad car, and there were handcuffs all in the railroad car. And he said, these are government handcuffs that they are going to use. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a scheduled training session, that happens every year, but it involves different states. And yet our governor, when people started screaming about it, he said, oh my gosh, I am going to appoint a militia. See, he can't choose the National Guard because they would be in cahoots with the government.
Oh, yeah.
So he came up with a state militia with the order to investigate these people, the special ops and these SEALs, and see what they're doing. If you believe that was the plot of a government here in the United States, in a Congress, a Republican Congress, and a president with who's in charge that has many generals and all who are Republicans anyway, or who are conservative-minded, that could possibly happen. That's one of those things that's too bad to be true. And I realize many people could say, well, the Holocaust was too bad to be true, but there were so many more indications and indicators in that. And I just wanted to say, please, when you read these letters to the editor and you hear these guys on radio, apply a little bit of, wisdom, maybe even common sense in it. This is just really odd.
Paranoia is paranoia.
It is, and it is fear that we have to fear Kay.
Right.
Anyway, that was one of those things that was, whoa, Kay. Speaking of that, we just got this late-breaking piece of news.
breaking news?
I don't know how it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, this has just been handed to me by, wow. Listen to this. Scientists from USC have determined that earlobes grow at the rate of 0.22 millimeters each year. Kay, your earlobes since birth apparently have grown 0.22 millimeters. Not 1 millimeter, but 0.22. But you know what that means, young lady?
It's almost a quarter of a millimeter.
You're dang right it is, but it means that if you live to be 1,000 years old, your earlobes are going to be somewhere between 9 and 10 inches long. You know, that's why Methuselah, if you look in, the small print of the Bible, they called him Mr. Dangly Lobes. And he was 969 years old.
Wow. Well, that's why I don't wear heavy earrings.
That is it. Oh, hey, can you imagine how long they would be if you did wear heavy earrings? 0.22 millimeters a year, your earlobes.
And somebody probably spent money doing a study to figure
grant,
that
I'm
out.
Sure. Federal government, you know what the government's like. They're giving grants to people to do all kinds of horrible things.
They're running out of topics. They're really getting a little out there.
Exactly. Anyway, that was a breaking bulletin. I mean, if it weren't supposedly true, I sure wouldn't have announced it. Anyway, that's one of the other things going on. One thing that has been fascinating, and we'll get to the diet next segment, but one thing that is eerie fascinating is the different types of things we've done with bad food to make it taste better. And it was so interesting to me when I grabbed yesterday's Chronicle, okay? The front page of the Chronicle had a big picture.
I remember.
Of the king on Burger King. The whole page. And it was there, and here was a headline, and I'm not making this up, folks, because I've got it right here. Those of you keep glued to your radio and look up here. Okay, can you see me? Okay, the headline, people, is "The King's Got a Whopper." And we're not talking about burgers. And I'm not making that up. That is "The King's Got a Whopper."
That's a quote.
That is a quote, and it's on the front page of the Chronicle. In other words, if someone from Russia or Switzerland said, "What's news in America today?" Okay, let's look in Houston. Oh, wow, the King's got a Whopper, and we're not talking burgers. What this was is an ad that Burger King bought. They used 4 full pages, and the Chronicle said, "You give us enough money, we'll put you on the front page."
Yeah.
And they did.
That's
By the way, if you open it inside, it says, "Turn the page." Okay, it's so silly. And they have a picture of the new Whopper hot dog. You see what it was? It was one of those teasers.
Yeah.
He's got a new Whopper. Open this, and you're going to see his new Whopper, or his Whopper. And it is no more than a hot dog. It's got mustard, ketchup, and relish on it, Kay. And it is nothing short of fascinating, according to Burger King. It has no chili on it, though, but I don't know if it's a good idea. A lot of people say hot dogs are so cheap, you might as well make them yours.
That's the only way I would want one, is if it had chili on it.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, you don't even like mustard, Kay.
No, not really.
The things I have done with mustard of late. By the way, Kay, we're going to take a break in a minute, but please, we've got one announcement we would like to make real quick on one of the greatest causes in the history of causes.
We just wanted to mention to you that there is going to be a fundraiser. It's for Caden's Hope Foundation, and they want to invite you to the 2nd Annual Texas Independence Music Festival, which will be Saturday, March the 5th. It will be at Cork-This Winery in Montgomery, Texas. And this is to support parents who have a premature infant in the neonatal intensive care unit. And you will have an evening of great music performed by local artists.
That is at Cork-This in Montgomery. I think that's downtown, isn't it, Dick? Right in there.
It is.
Yeah.
Tickets are $10 at the door, and all proceeds will support neonatal intensive care families. That is Saturday, March the 5th, 4 p.m., Cork-This Winery in Montgomery, Texas.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, you are Hanging with the Hayters. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes here on irlonestar.com.
Have a legal question? Are you a resident of Montgomery County? Call 281-645-6344 to talk to a volunteer attorney from the Woodlands Bar Association. We answer the phones on the first Monday of every month at 281-645-6344 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. to provide general legal information and information about legal resources to Montgomery County residents.
Howdy, howdy, folks. Cable Smith, host of the Lone Star Outdoors Show, inviting you to join me Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 on Lone Star Internet Radio for Texas' premier hunting, fishing, and outdoor talk show. So pour yourself another cup of coffee and pull up that stool a little closer to the old campfire, because if you can catch it or kill it in Texas, we're going to talk about it. That's right. Bucks and ducks, gobblers, monster bass, redfish, trout, and a whole lot more. Plus, you never know what outdoor celebrity is going to drop by, from Phil the Duck Commander Robertson to fishing legend Bill Dance or everybody's favorite uncle Ted Nugent. Heck, we might even mix in an interview and hear some brand spanking new Texas music from one of your favorite Texas musicians like Robert Earl Keen, Brandon Ryder, or the honky-tonk kid himself, Aaron Watson. Loved or hated but never ignored, it's the Lone Star Outdoors Show with me, Cable Smith, Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 right here on Lone Star Internet Radio on irlonestar.com.
Are you interested in learning more about preparing quick, healthy, and safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Hanging with the Hayters with my charming wife, Kay, and, of course, me. By the way, Kay, the topic we're getting ready to talk about, the diet, I wrote an article about it, and it was in Sunday's Courier. It will be in tomorrow's Villager, but Kay helped me write it. In fact, she did all of the keying, and she put, as it turned out, I mean, I was stoned from drugs.
He could kind of like would nod off during phases of it. But somebody had to do the keyboarding.
Somebody had to do it. I was reciting stuff to her, and if you think you've got a solid marriage, one of the key things you need to do is, I don't know, particularly if you ever write, get your wife to write something for you that you're dictating, or anyone. By the way, speaking of dieting, and we'll make it back to that in a second, but Kay, we have now got a caller, and the line is open, 936-647-3776. Welcome, caller. You're here on Hanging with the Hayters, and could I have your name, please, first, last, or just first, if you wish?
This is Tony Thin Mints Russo. I'm the mayor of Anzio, New Jersey.
Got it. Anzio, New Jersey. Thin Mints.
Anzio.
You're not going to believe this, but I have heard of your name. Angio, was it?
Yeah.
Angio Thin Mints.
Tony.
Oh, Tony.
Thin Mints.
I'm sorry.
There was an incident with the Girl Scouts. I would prefer not to go into.
I remember, and you did. But you did have a governmental position of some kind. Tony, is this something about the diet or just?
No, Mark. The question that people have right now is, what do you think of Mr. Donald Trump? It's politics. It's politics that's moving the nation.
It's politics,
I want to know
baby.
What you and Kay think of Mr. Donald Trump.
Look, you are. I'm not saying I'm afraid of you. I mean, I've seen you before, and you are an imposing figure. In fact, the time
Indeed.
You were packing lead or heat, I should say. I don't know what you were doing with lead. I'd really rather hear your opinion right now.
I think Mr. Donald Trump is more than likely a saint who will be worshipped on the same level as Mr. Abraham Lincoln.
Oh.
That is my prediction.
You know something? I would like to see that head on some rock somewhere. I'm talking about, Mount Rushmore. How would they handle that? That would be pretty tough.
All I know is, get me some scissors, and he would look like a new man when I got through.
Hey, Tony, do you get the Chronicle? Do you ever see it, read it?
I do, occasionally.
All right. Tony, did you happen to see that picture of the president of, I believe it was Peru? He had this...
It was Bolivia.
There's a difference, ladies and gentlemen, besides the spelling.
Not much.
He had this hairpiece on that would make Donald Trump feel proud of himself.
They would be best buds.
And that's what I thought. If Trump does get elected and all, that would be something.
There's no doubt. He will be elected. I have an insider's view of how the votes will be tabulated.
I was so afraid of that. I believe this.
Anyway, hey, love your show. Love listening about the hot dog on the front of the Chronicle newspaper. I got to get back to administrating the city of Enzio, New Jersey. So
Okay.
I will hang up and listen.
I was just honored, even
all
though
the
I
best. All
realized
the
your
best.
background and all. I was honored.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you so much.
Nice to
betcha.
talk to
Goodbye.
you, Tony.
I love that,
Goodbye.
Tony. By the way, I have every confidence that Brad Meyer asked him to call. Brad Meyer and this Tony guy are close.
Yeah.
Anyway, the diet. What I was going to say is Kay helped write the article, and anyway, she did a pretty good job.
Well, I put a few comments in.
You did great.
Of my own.
Now, with
for a
respect
change.
to this diet, in fact, we've got an appointment tomorrow.
Yes. This will be our 4th week check-in.
Oh, my goodness. And I will tell you this, listeners, that I said, and I've mentioned this several times to my sister and others, most who don't give a rat's butt, but I said that I would not ever get involved in some kind of diet that made me have to weigh food and determine, you can only eat it this time, you must eat that or whatever. It's just like Dick and I were talking before the show that, it's has a lot to do with quantity. Just use common sense and realize, wow.
Yeah, we all know what it takes to lose weight.
But folks, I jumped into this thing. I swallowed this, feathers and all. And Kay, give us the science behind this, if you will, if you don't mind.
All right. Well, it's called the Ideal Protein Diet. It's in 4 phases, and the longest phase is phase 1, which is what we're in and probably will be for at least 2 more months, I would think. And that is the lose weight part. And therefore, it's got the most restricted eating protocol.
Oh, let me tell you, it's restricted, Kay.
Yeah. They have their own food. Most of it, not all of it, most of it is in powder form in envelopes. And at this point, we have to have 3 of those a day. Breakfast, lunch, and a snack. And
Kay, let me ask you this. You said most of it's in powder form. What is not in powder form?
They have some puddings that are
already done.
Yeah.
We've.
I think they've got like a cappuccino drink too.
Well, yes, but that's not in powder form either. And,
right.
Oh, it may be in a bottle. I don't know.
Right.
But we bought the powder in every step of the way. And what do we usually have for lunch?
Well, we usually, what we've been doing is using their soups that they have, and they have a variety of all of this. Unfortunately, after you've had them 3 or 4 times, you pretty much get over, getting excited about eating of that. So,
and one bad thing, there's many bad things, but one bad thing about it is that I don't understand about them. This is a franchise. They've got them
all over
the place.
Actually from Canada.
But, you've got 3 boxes when you go in to get something. One is for your breakfast. You get 1 powdered something for breakfast. You get a powdered thing you eat for lunch, and then you eat 2 vegetables with it. And then you get a powdered snack. But the deal is you have to choose 1 box of 7. That's because there's 7 days a week.
You get 7.
Which soup do you want? Oh, I want chicken a la king is a soup, folks. And I thought, wow, I want it because it's got 4 pieces of corn in it. 4 little corn. And corn is not on our diet, Kay. You can't eat it. And I got that, but when you get it, that's 7 a week. And one reason I have to eat 7 a week is I can't share with Kay because she hates chicken a la king, so I'm stuck with the stuff.
I've been eating it too.
You did, right? And you got really sick.
And that's one reason that I think it's been going pretty good for us, I think, because both of us are going through it at the same time. So, we have been trying to pick things that both of us think that we would like, so we'd have a little bit more variety. Yeah. And that's been helping. They have a lot of the mixes or drink type mixes like a vanilla shake or chocolate shake. You've got a cappuccino. Those are all good. I really enjoy those. But it seems to be, and the breakfasts aren't bad. They've even got a pancake thing. You can cook yourself a pancake. But
Can't have syrup, though, Kay. And the pancake is really not flour. I don't know what it is, Kay. No one knows.
It's protein-based.
You know what makes me like it is the fact that it is one of the better powdered things. If you had served me a stack of pancakes like this pancake, I would say, please, no, I want a real pancake. But as is, pancake for breakfast.
Yeah.
I interrupted your whole deal about the science. What is this first phase trying to do to us? And
it is the losing the weight, and what's good about it is that the weight you're losing is actually fat. So when you go in every week, you get on their special scale, and it can tell you how much water's in your body, what your fat is in your body, and like last week I went in, I had lost over 1% of my body fat in 1 week.
Wow,
So,
she's just a shadow of herself.
I wish, but I'm hoping I'll
and
be
I'm
there.
a figment of my imagination. By the way, folks, did you hear what she said? There is a scale. You have to take your shoes off. You can't wear socks. You're barefooted. It's got some metal plates in it. You stand on it, and according to these people, it's spitting out print. I mean, it's telling you stuff. They say, okay, it's not only measuring your weight, but it's measuring your amount of your bone density, your body fat.
They can tell you how much your bones weigh.
Water you've got, and just from the scales, just from your feet.
Yeah.
Kate, you know those things that are too good to be true? I have trouble believing that, because when you're through, they say, okay, here's your problem. And give me a break. But
Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How are your clothes fitting?
Okay, they're fitting better, Kay. Okay, this shirt is one of my favorite, and I haven't been able to wear it in a long time.
He put on a pair of jeans yesterday that he hadn't worn in I don't know when, and they were 2 sizes smaller than what he's been wearing. So, have your doubts, but the proof is in.
Well, yeah, and the deal is, do you want to pay the price? And speaking of the price, this is an expensive deal. It's $270 when you go in, just for
per person
for whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then every time you show up to get your meal, which you do once a week, it's $84.
Right.
So
and
you're
that includes the food.
I did the math a while back.
But you know, obviously we think it's worth it, or we wouldn't still be doing it.
Yeah, you've got a brilliant point there. It is true.
We had given up on trying to diet because I can diet for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But this gives you results. I feel better. So
I can't say that I feel better. I really don't know. I'm more
you've been
agile.
through surgery during this whole
Oh, that's
thing.
right. That's what it is. But now I can reach behind me and scratch my right armpit with my left hand. That has never happened before.
So glad you shared
that. It's not happening now. But,
news to me.
Yeah. And that is one thing. And the other thing, one of the greatest incentives on this diet is the cost. We've been in it for a month, and we have invested, $2,000 or something?
Oh, not
anyway,
that much.
a lot of money to where right now, if I said I'm out of here, I would have just, in my article I put it's like a, getting in a land war in Asia. After a while you've invested so much in horrible things, and you say, well, if we get out now, it was useless.
How much has your blood pressure come down?
Not as much as I'd like. I don't. It has
but
somewhat.
It's lower.
Yeah, it's really weird.
My blood sugar. I'm diabetic. My blood sugar is in the normal range now. When I wake up now, I'm just on the pills. I'm not taking insulin. So
right.
That's probably been.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know what?
My
else?
blood pressure's way low, and I have stopped my blood pressure meds.
Yeah.
So.
We might touch on this diet again after this upcoming break, but I am going to mention the First Amendment with regards to religion, too. And we might do every once in a while during the rest of the month or the next couple of months, little updates on this. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a break, and involved in this break, again, will be weather, traffic, and all by the president of IRLoneStar.com, Dick Shishler. And ladies and gentlemen, you're hanging with the Hayters, www.IRLoneStar.com.
The Conroe YMCA's benchmark adaptive programming for kids and adults is Leap of Faith. Leap of Faith is an equine-assisted therapy program serving children and adults with adaptive needs. The riders in our Leap of Faith program are working to address and manage specific aspects of their lives impacted by illness, injury, or disability. The Leap of Faith program has experience working with riders who are living with attention deficit or other hyperactivity disorders, hearing impairments, visual impairments, developmental delays or disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, head traumas, brain injuries, and paralysis. Our program uses horseback riding to develop self-confidence and self-esteem, to increase upper and lower body strength, assist in respiratory issues, and establish a trusting relationship between the rider and their horse. Not only do these activities aid in the physical and mental development of the rider, but they also foster self-reliance and independence. For more information regarding our program, to become a rider, or to volunteer with a great group of people, please call our Welcome Center at 936-441-9622 or visit our website at www.ymcahouston.org/Conroe.
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on IRLoneStar.com with Hanging with the Hayters. It is around 12:32. I want to give you your traffic and weather report. Let's start with traffic here in the Montgomery County area. For some odd reason, you are good to go on I-45 northbound and southbound. I'm seeing green everywhere, actually. I don't see one accident or incident around Montgomery County. 105 east to west, you're good to go from Montgomery all the way to Cleveland. 242 to 45 all the way to Patton Village, you're good to go. Same thing with Magnolia on 1488 all the way to I-45. Weather report in the Montgomery County area. It's 56 degrees outside, fair and breezy. Humidity is around 36%. This afternoon will be sunny with a high near 58. Winds, though, can get as high as 30 miles an hour, folks. So be careful driving and also walking around, especially if you're in a skirt. Tonight, clear with a low around 34. Northwest winds will drop down to 10 miles an hour later in the evening. You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio, your community radio station for Montgomery County. We're going to get back with Hanging with the Hayters right after these sponsorships and public service announcements.
Our community's animal shelters cannot absorb accidental litters of kittens and puppies. Approximately 80% of the animals entering our shelters will not make it out alive. Please help be a part of the solution. Please spay and neuter your pets. Many low-cost options are available. Visit texaslittercontrol.org to learn more. That's texaslittercontrol.org. And remember, real Texans don't litter. Please spay and neuter your pets.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here on Hanging with the Hayters. And when we last left, we were talking about this diet, ideal diet, and what I wanted to say about it, one thing I wanted to say about it, Kay, is how much I have learned to eat bad stuff, or by bad stuff, I mean good stuff, you know, like Brussels sprouts.
Healthy stuff.
But I can't eat corn, peas, or beans, and I can't eat any of these vegetables with salt or butter. So what I am doing right now, ladies and gentlemen, on this diet is I'm eating to live. I'm not living to eat.
Which is the exact opposite of the way we've been living for a long time.
Anyway.
Honey, we have some breaking news.
Get out of here.
Just came in.
What happened?
Purdue University had a research project, and they established that you do not need a parachute to jump out of a plane.
Get out of here.
No, you only need a parachute if you want to jump twice.
Oh, my word. Can you imagine the number of experiments they had to go through to figure that out?
Yeah, I think we need to rethink who we're using for our news.
I do too. And, well, that is coming from Leota, Oklahoma. But, the Boilermakers, I have a little less respect for them. I really do right now.
Purdue.
Anyway, before I jump into this U.S. Constitution thing, Kay, any last words on the diet for now before we...
Just that I hope we haven't run it down too much, because... One reason we even started the thing is because we ran into a friend of ours. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
And she looked so good. And then she mentioned, how her husband had lost weight. And then she talked about two other people that we knew that had lost weight. And so we decided to check it out. And frankly, we had pretty much given up on dieting.
Yeah.
And even though, and then we'd eat and then he'd feel guilty. So I'm tired.
Right.
I'm tired of that.
You know, Kay, if Ideal Protein Diet was our sponsor, I'd say it's the best thing in God's creation. It's the only diet like this. However, I'm sure there are other protein diets out there, and I'm sure there are diets less expensive. I'm not sure you're going to get to see the technician every week or whatever, but our food purchases have gone down. I got to say that because you can't buy anything. You can't eat anything you can buy.
But that's phase one.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to get. It'll be back to eating.
It'll be back.
Eating better at the end.
But there are cheaper ways of doing this, I feel sure. But this seems to have enough incentive for me. But it's tough.
Well, we'll keep y'all updated
Yeah.
as things goes along.
Okay, folks, I wanted to mention this one thing, and it relates also to this station. I haven't mentioned this to Dick bringing this up, but you know, you already know it's been in the newspapers and all, and Dick has mentioned it, that the IRLoneStar.com is soon to be part of a City of Conroe TV station, radio station, 104.1 FM and Dick
106.
106.
1.
106.1.
104.5, 106.1.
I was
Thank
this
you.
close. And, of course, also, we will also be on the public cable channel here. It's channel 12 on my Suddenlink deal. Anyway, I'm saying that to say this. The IR Lone Star is Dick Schischler's deal. He's the president. He's the owner. He's everything. However, he is now getting ready to allow the city of Conroe and all to become part of this, meaning his broadcasting before could have been anything Dick wanted pretty much that passes the FAA. FAA. I think, though, that's a flying outfit.
Right.
The FDC?
FCC,
one of those things. But anyway, now there are stipulations, and one of them is, of course, religion.
This will be because it's city associated, so that means it's tax.
That means
partially
taxpayers will be
taxpayers.
paying for anybody that buys a can of soup at not a can of soup, that's not taxable. But there's a city tax on pretty much services and things in Conroe, and that is part of the thing that goes to it. And when we were doing, when I was with Cindy, and I did encouraging word, and there was Dick was good with it, and I'd talk about a religious thing at the end, and go ahead.
I know you're going with this, and which is good. But I've learned more about it since we last spoke about it.
Before I say this, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic when you're dealing with the label we would call the FM portion of Lone Star is non-commercial, so it's going to be supported by sponsorships. So it's very similar to your NPR and your public access channels.
Right.
And when it comes down to religion, it's very easy to understand once you get over that initial hump. And the main concern is it has to be balanced. And that's something that's a concern with government, where they don't want to be held in a light that they're representing one specific entity or religion. So, like, for example, your encouraging word, since you're doing it live on the air, it's not a big deal because you're only doing it for 15 minutes, and you're not telling people what to believe. And it's a real big deal between non-commercial and commercial is like sponsorships. They're not telling you what to buy. They're not telling you what to do. It's more of just informing. Yeah. So same idea applies to religion. You're not telling people to go to church, this specific church, believe in this certain god or gods. It's more of it's a very interesting dynamic, and you don't usually get in trouble with it. The only time you really get in trouble with it, Mark, is that there's one person who's upset, and there's one person listening in and just like, I don't like this. This is bad.
Yeah.
And that's when you run into trouble, and it's just...
It is. And that's the whole deal. Whoever is upset has a constitutional right to be upset, and if it goes to court, and depending on if it's a federal judge or a state judge, if it's a state judge, he'll probably lose, and then he'll probably appeal to a federal court. But it all stems from this thing. It is the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, and nowhere does it say freedom of religion. It does not say freedom of religion. It uses some vague terms. Listen to this. First Amendment and Constitution, it says this: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, respecting an establishment or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now, if we had that alone to go by, that is really vague. And what has ultimately happened whenever this was passed, the states said, like Georgia, Alabama, and later, Texas and all of these, said, wait a minute, the Congress can't make laws, but Texas sure can. We're going to make laws saying you are not going to, be a Mormon in this state or be whatever you want to in this state. And Congress or the Founding Fathers, whether they intended that or not, I do not know. But you know something? Right after the Civil War, another amendment was passed in order to largely for slaves, because the South said after the war, you freed them with the 13th Amendment, but they're not citizens, so we don't have to do anything to them. We can, tell them you don't walk on the street. We can do anything you want to. And that's why they had Jim Crow laws and still did after this amendment. So the Congress of the United States passed an amendment. It's the 14th Amendment, and I think the most important amendment in the Constitution. It not only tells you who is a citizen of the United States, we'll get to that later, but listen to this part of it. When Texas says, okay, but you can't, they're not citizens, the state of Texas can, it says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, and listen to this, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction equal protection under the law. No state shall. So it's saying, Texas, you can't. And ultimately, the way the Supreme Court has interpreted this, not me, ladies and gentlemen, the Supreme Court has interpreted pretty much what Dick was saying with regards to one person, and that's why these were made. So the Bill of Rights were for individuals, not the whole country. Just make sure, the Supreme Court said, look, if you are going to practice, going to have in a public gathering, where by that I mean in a public place like a courthouse or whatever, or it's a property belonging to the government and taxpayers' money, and you put up a cross or that's showing you're respecting one particular religion, and unless you allow any other religion to come there and put up similar things, we can't have you do that because you are respecting a particular religion. And if you give a prayer in a football game, the stadium of which is owned by the taxpayers, then if you do say a prayer, you must allow equal time to any other religion. Will any other religion do it? I don't know. But the minute they try to, you're going to say, okay, we're going to drop that, not equal protection. And the Supreme Court has said, just don't do it. And I bring this up today because I've heard and read in the newspaper so many things. I want a president who will bring back prayer in school. Ladies and gentlemen, the president can't do that. Donald Trump may think he can, and or any person may think he can who's running for president. But according to the Constitution, the one thing the president is sworn to do, and it's not to protect the people of the United States at all. It says, I swear to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And he does not have the right to tell you what's unconstitutional. The Supreme Court does. And that's why selecting the next justice of the Supreme Court is going to be pretty important. Because of right now, it's 5 liberals, not liberal, but less conservative, and 5 conservatives. And what a lot of people, Republicans believe, which I would if I was a Republican, believe that since a conservative died, you need to appoint a conservative replacement. But the Constitution doesn't tell you that. It doesn't. What a bunch of information that you didn't ask for, and I laid it on you anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hanging with Hayter show, and when we come back, I am going to have a story, Kay. I am going to tell a story, and we will have a joke here on Hanging with the Hayters, www.OurLoneStar.com.
Bye, y'all.
This Wednesday.
See you in a minute. We'll be back.
Hello, I'm Bonita DeRosa, Animal Control Officer for the City of Willis. We invite you to tune in to Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. for the Willis Hour. On the first Thursday of the month, the Willis Hour will be covering upcoming events and news about the city. Join in the conversation with your city officials and other leaders in the community. On the third, we will be doing a recap of the last City Council meeting. The mission of the City of Willis is to provide high-quality services, accountability, and professional commitment to our citizens. We pledge to provide those who live, work, and visit our city an effective government that is open and responsive to the needs and values of the community. Again, we invite you to tune in on Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 for the Willis Hour.
At Jazzy Junk, volunteers reclaim, restore, and recycle. Jazzy Junk is a non-profit resale storefront where you will discover wonderful, unique finds at very affordable prices on furniture, antiques, books, art, home decor, and more. When you shop Jazzy Junk, you support New Danville, a community for adults with developmental disabilities. We receive new donations daily, so plan a visit to Jazzy Junk today to find that perfect item or gift. Our motto is here today, gone today. So remember to hurry in and shop often for the best selection. Jazzy Junk is located in the outlets at Conroe on League Line Road and I-45 North. Call 936-441-4500 or visit our website, jazzyjunk.org. That's JUNQUE for more information and store hours.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hanging with the Hayters. I was going to say the Mark and Kay show. That's silly. That's silly talk, even though that's who it is, Kay.
I'm here.
Yeah. Kay, you are here, and I usurped a lot of your power to speak, and I apologize for that. And I think...
Well, you're the social studies teacher here.
Well, I tell you, Tony, if Tony Thin Mints calls in and threatens me about that, I am going to adhere to whatever that man says. Yeah. But anyway, I was thinking of a story, Kay, and I leave this story topic thing vague because, I don't. Who wants to hear my particular stories about my life? Well, maybe 3 of you do. I don't know. And the other 3 people may be, no, I don't want to hear that. Tell me something that'll teach me whatever.
Is it funny?
It really isn't. But it is this particular story I never knew about. Ladies and gentlemen, I taught history for a number of years, and I taught political science and all, but...
over a quarter of a century.
Over a quarter of a century.
That sounds like a long time.
Yeah. But anyway, one thing I never heard about was with regard to Japan at the end of World War II, or near the end. And this sounds, crazy. I've turned it off. But listen to this. This is one of the most interesting stories I've heard about the war and how it could have changed in an instant had one thing not taken place. And here's the story. I'll tell it as quickly as I can. Ladies and gentlemen, near the end of the war, after the bomb of Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombed.
The 2 atomic bombs.
Yeah. August 6th, August 9th. After August 9th, we heard nothing from Japan. Like, hey, how are those bombs? Are you guys ready to surrender? We heard nothing. They didn't say anything. So what are we supposed to do? And Truman saying...
And we didn't have any more atomic bombs.
Well, we had one.
We had one left.
Yeah, we had the third. We had made 3 atomic bombs, and Truman was actually saying, look, our last step has got to be bombing Tokyo with an atomic bomb. We'd already firebombed, didn't kill more people in that one firebomb in Tokyo than we did in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But Truman said, we need to do something, and that's, I guess, what we're going to do. Well, so they let the 10th went by, the 11th, they still haven't heard anything. There were rumors during the 10th that Japan is getting ready to surrender, and it was just some spies they had out. But in other words, Japan was not saying anything. Folks, while this was going on, we did not know, but in Japan there was a particular army officer. He was a major, but he was one wacko fascist guy, and he was going to take control of the government, the emperor's palace in Tokyo, and he was going to take the emperor and just put him in the dungeon, and then he was going to use one of the high generals in the Japanese army because he got his, support. He said, I want you to announce to all the people in Japan that we will not surrender. We are going to fight to the last person. I don't care what they do, but this is for the, Shintoism or whatever, and for the emperor or whatever. Where's the emperor? I don't know.
He's going to be in a dungeon.
And that was his plan. And he had 2,000 of his immediate people, he was in Tokyo, that took over the imperial palace. on August the 14th. What he had realized is that the day before, the Emperor Hirohito recorded a message saying he agreed to unconditional surrender. This was going to be read on August the 15th. What this guy realized he had to do is take control of the Imperial Palace and take the disc. They were copies.
Oh, the Emperor had recorded.
So he cannot record them on the radio. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah.
And anyway, what happened at that point is Truman said, I know we hear they might surrender. I can't trust that. I don't know what. So they sent a bombing mission with 127 B-29 bombers headed for this Akita, place north of 200 miles north of Tokyo. But these 127 bombers flew right over Tokyo. And when the Tokyoans saw it, they said, oh my gosh, they're getting ready to blow the daylights out of us again. And this was the very night the guy who was starting the coup was going to invade the Imperial Palace. And so he said, let's invade. All of a sudden, all of the electricity in Tokyo went off. There was a blackout that could not have been changed. They had it all wired. You could not change it, and the entire palace went black. The emperor was down in a cellar, and this guy was looking for those discs, the recording, and all he wanted to do is destroy them so he could send his general to the radio station. Lo and behold, because it was so dark, they hadn't planned, so they just had some flashlights and small generators.
They couldn't find the disc.
They could not find the disc, and these bombers went past. And by the way, the bombers, there were 27 fighters the Japanese had to go up and hit these bombers, and they went up to hit them, and all of a sudden they said, no, fly back to the Imperial Palace in case they're bombing the Imperial Palace and killing the emperor. So they were not even fired at by anybody.
So they went right over.
Yeah, they went over in Akita. They caught shrapnel and all. But, folks, this mission, not one plane, not one person got injured because of the blackout. And the blackout happened because of the mission. And because of that mission, this guy who started the coup was found out, and the whole army went against him. Had he been able to announce fighting to the end, then
so the blackout caused the coup to fail.
One thing. And here's the weirdness about that, and I'm sure it's so fast that it doesn't mean much to a lot of people, but had they not decided to fly right over Tokyo, and had they not sent 127 bombers, which was about 7 times more than they needed because they only had one target, a refinery, but they sent everything to the point that the sky was clouded over the thing, and they couldn't even, they almost bombed one another. Had that not happened, ladies and gentlemen, this coup might have been successful, and as a result, we may have had to nuke Tokyo, and we may have had to invade, killing many of ourselves and them.
What was the estimate on American casualties?
It was supposedly over 1 million, and who can know? But the point I'm trying to make is I don't think that was fate. I really think it was time for something to happen, and I think it was divine intervention. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to us here on www.OurLoneStar.com, hanging with the Hayters, and we will be back next week, and it will be after Super Tuesday.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.